Hey everybody, Ryan back with another video. Today's actually going to be really fun. I got commissioned by Alpha Ignition, or John, over on Instagram. And he was looking to have a custom Mandalorian flak vest made. I'll go ahead and show you a picture of that right now. And so basically all I have to do is sew this guy up. So I'm going to go ahead and run over to my sewing station. We can start making up some patterns and get this guy rolling. So let's do that right now. Alright, so we're kicking things off, just cutting out the first pieces here. First step is going to be sewing in the pleats for the side and the top. You want to make sure here that you account for the extra length that you're going to be putting in with the pleats so that when you line it up to your original base piece, they fit perfectly. So you can see I'm just going ahead, you fold it, sew it, and then when you unfold it, you've got a nice pleat all the way around. I used 2-inch spacing, and now you can see I'm going to go ahead and lay those guys over here. And we've got a nice fit on both the front and the back, and we can start on the canvas flap. So most important thing with the canvas flap here is that we're going to fold over those edges and put a hem all the way around on the main 3 sides. I'm leaving the bottom undone just because that is going to get folded and sewn later with the whole rest of the piece, just that way everything is nice and flush. But the reason that you want to do this is because canvas is an interesting material to work with, and that it likes to fray very easily and very quickly. So you want to make sure that you put a nice hem around it so that that doesn't happen, because you can seriously unravel it very, very quickly. So I'm going to go and finish up the other edges here, and then we can go ahead and sew those onto the main chest piece. Alrighty, and now we're going to go ahead and sew that canvas piece right onto the front and back of the shirt pieces. One thing that I did in between these steps that I didn't film is that I added batting on both the front and the back just to add a little bit of weight and heaviness to the broadcloth. This is because the broadcloth was just a little thin for my liking, but also because a lot of the Mandalorians have a traditional padded looking flak vest, and that's how it looked in the art to me. It was kind of difficult to translate, but if I was to assume that this was to be made into a real suit, I would assume that there would be a padding of some type in there. So I just added a really thin layer of batting, nothing crazy, but just enough to give it a little bit more weight and make it stand out just a little bit more, especially on those pleats, because it really picked that up and pushed those details out. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up sewing on the front and the back, and then the next step after that is going to be sewing the sleeves. Alrighty, we've got the sleeve pieces here, and the sleeves are actually some of my favorite parts to work on these Mandalorian cosplays, because they've got these really unique designs, and I've worked on a couple now at this point, so they're just a really fun thing to do. So the first thing that I like to do is get a couple of strips of folded over canvas, and then make sure that you leave an extra 2 inches on the end of your sleeves so that you can fold those over and sew directly over those straps when you're all done. It'll make a little bit more sense in a second here once I get these straps sewn in, but basically you want to make sure that those straps are at your 1/4 and 3/4 mark distance wise. That way they are centered on the front and back of the arms when you're actually wearing the suit, which is how they're most often located in the concept art and on the actual cosplays, or costumes rather, in The Mandalorian or Star Wars on characters like Boba Fett or Jango. So here you can see I've went ahead and sewn in the 2 straps, and now I am folding over the bottom edge twice to make sure that I have a closed edge on the end. Again, because this is canvas, you want to make sure that it's not going to fray, so you want to sew that edge down. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to put 1 stitch along the top and 1 stitch along the bottom just to make everything nice and secure. And then from there the sleeves are done and ready to be sewn into the vest. Alrighty, sewing the sleeves into the vest, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this is probably the worst part of any costume ever, because sewing sleeves is just one of those things where the angles and the curves are completely opposite, so the sewing machine will try to fight you, your fabric will try to unfold, and a lot of times pins will help you here. I personally find pins to be a little bit intrusive and annoying when sewing, so a lot of times I line them up by hand and by eye. You absolutely can use pins though, and I even recommend that you do. It's just, for me personally, it doesn't tend to work out. I have had luck with the sewing clips in the past, but for the most part I line things up just by hand and eye, and I don't really run into too many issues with that. But that's just a personal preference, and that's how I've been doing things for a good long while now, so I'm pretty used to it. But I'm going to go ahead and finish sewing up this sleeve, and then from there we'll have a couple more things to work on, but this guy's getting pretty close to wrapping up now. Alright, so the next step is actually to turn your garment inside out and start at the sleeves, because this is how you're going to sew up the side of the sleeves, and you're basically going to continue right from the side of the sleeves down the side of the vest itself, so you get one nice stitch along the entire thing. This has been the easiest way that I've found to sew in sleeves, because it doesn't require as much finagling as it does when you sew the sleeve shut and then try to sew it into the garment. It gives you much less fight this way. So when you can do it this way, I highly recommend that you do. It'll save you a lot of frustration and pain. Trust me, because I've gone through the frustration and pain before. It is not fun. So if you can do it this way, try to do it this way. But aside from that, this jacket's wrapping up here. After this, I went ahead and added in the collar. And from there, this guy was pretty much wrapped up. So a lot of fun working on it and getting ready for the reveal in just a couple seconds here. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a fun little time lapse and a fun project. Definitely ran into a couple of speed bumps along the way, but we got it all figured out, and in the end I actually ended up with something that I was really happy with. So we've got it right here, and as you can see, we've got the front and the back. There were a couple things that weren't shown in the footage that I can definitely go over, like the padding that I added in. I don't believe I showed that, but there was some batting that I added in between the basic broadcloth parts of the suit. I did that to add some weight and some thickness. It also gives it that heavier padded look that the Mandalorians have. But in addition to that, I just went in and sort of covered up some of the seams with some of this bias tape just to make the insides look a little bit cleaner. And then added the collar as well as the zipper here. So all of that was done super simply, but unfortunately I was not able to recover the footage from it. So it is what it is, but like I said, for the most part, really happy with the results here. Super excited to send it his way. He's been awesome throughout all of this. And stay tuned, because I actually did a trade with him. So I did this for him, and he's actually sending me a raw resin kit Mandalorian helmet. So that's going to be the Mandalorian helmet that I use for my cosplay. So once that arrives, you'll actually see me finishing that guy and painting that, which I'm super, super, super excited for. Can't wait for that to get here and to get cracking on that. But that's what I got for you today. Stay tuned for the next one, and it's going to be awesome. Got a lot of videos coming up, a lot of cool stuff. So definitely like, subscribe, comment, all the YouTube stuff. You guys know it. Just go ahead and click all the buttons and do all the stuffs. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. I think that's it. Yeah, that's definitely it. These are my bag.